All good?
Yeah.
Gaffer, thanks for taking the time to speak to us. Leicester are top of the league at the moment, and I think they showed why today.
Excellent team. I think they show why. They're leading the league at the moment, and I'd argue to say that I'd say they're going to finish as champions. Good team, and move the ball around. Got the depth in terms of the squad as well. To be able to make 4 changes before the game today, and then bring more on after 60, 70 minutes just shows the depth in the squad what they've got.
The way they played wasn't a deterrent to the boys, though. We started trying to press them. We made real inroads on the break as well. It was frustration in the final third that we weren't creating the openings that the position was warranting. There was no lack of belief, I think I'm trying to say, in today's performance.
No, I think what you saw certainly over recent weeks, Raj, with us is that like I said before, with certain personnel back, we feel we're more on the front foot now to engage and take games towards the team, irrespective of who the opposition is. And you saw more of the same with that today, that we had enough territory in terms of on the ball, which I said that, Huddersfield Town will see an increase in our possession stats in terms of games, to manage games better. And in terms of that, we'll see us get into the final thirds of opposition more and more frequently. And that's what you saw again today. I thought the small thing was probably that bit of composure in the final. But listen, Raj, I'm pinching here because, I said to the boys in there, credit to them all, because over this Christmas period, we've lost players and the squad's been more reduced, really. So for those players to go again within the space of 4 games in 9-10 days is credit to them.
In terms of the goals that Leicester scored as well, we've had defeats in the past where we felt like we've gifted team goals. I think it's fair to say it didn't seem that way today. There were a couple of fantastic finishes in there. The only one that you could possibly question if you wanted to was the header at the far post, but otherwise there were really well worked goals that the goalkeeper wouldn't do any better with, and defence stood up to about as well as they could have hoped to.
No, some quality movements and precision passes, at the level that they play at, the detail of movement and passes, the weight of pass and that was evident today. They moved the ball from side to side and look for those openings, really. And you have to come here and be detailed with your work in terms of that. And I thought the boys, I couldn't have asked any more of the lads today in terms of their work rate, their endeavour and the commitment. As I said, after this Christmas period break, it gives us plenty to look back on in terms of moving ahead into the second half of the season and into the new year. And we will do that. And that's what it presents us now. Now it's about the boys regrouping, refocusing, resetting and getting ready to for a cup match at the weekend.
Is it important not to be too downhearted by the scoreline in particular and sort of try and pay more attention to how the boys stood up against opposition man for man, but collectively as well? Because I think it's, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, if this was a game that was played a couple of months ago, perhaps unless they were moving the ball the way they did, the scoreline would have been perhaps even more unfavourable than it was this afternoon.
Yeah, and I think one or two of the goals, and I look back on it, probably we were a little bit tired and fatigued at stages because the boys put a lot of energy into the game. So probably I look back on it when I analyse the game, and I'll have to look back on them. But the commitment the players is there. You can see us more on the front foot, Raj. We're more engaging with our opponents more, and that's, I said before, that's with the return, and we hope that one or two more of these next few days can get back on the training ground and will help the squad a little bit in depth.
Yeah, you speak about the endeavour, and I think one of the things that proves that is, Jack Redoney's not only recently come back from injury, but he's covered about 13,000 kilometres, 13,000 kilometres today, and that's not a bad effort for somebody who's played 4 games in 10 days.
No, and that's what we said. When he came back in and he played against Millwall. And, a lot of people saying that they thought I would have took him off after an hour or 70 minutes. But it just goes to show his personal fitness and energy levels for him to do that amount, the 4th game in 9 days or 10 days or whatever it is. And it's credit to him. And as I said, but it's not just him, it's the group as a whole. Every time this group faces a bit of adversity, they stand up against it and continue. And we'll certainly need more of that with the weeks to come. So I've got nothing but praise and for the players in terms of how they went about it. You've seen another committed performance today. We just got beat by the better team. And it's not a shameful thing for us to say they're a good team on their home patch and they're league leaders for a reason. And they've got some real good quality players. But as I said, from our point of view, it's a good learning curve for us. But it's a quick one that we have to quickly turn the page and move on. And as I said, we break away from the league now. We focus on the cup match next week.
13 kilometres, that was obviously 13,000 would have been ridiculous, sorry. The cup match is obviously going to come, and one change that will happen to the side between now and then is that Yuta Nakayama has been called up by Japan today. Obviously, it's not ideal to lose a player, obviously, one as good as Yuta, but given the injury he had that meant he missed the World Cup previously for his country, it's a good moment for him personally and for his country that he's been called up and will get to play in the Asia Cup.
I think it's fantastic for Yuta, and I really do, because with his injury and the form that he's shown and the consistency that he's shown, to get called up by his country to represent him in the Asia Cup is fantastic for him and his family. And we certainly wish him really, really well in the Cup tournament. And we'll be monitoring it from our home shores and seeing how he gets on. But the medical team, sports science team, myself will be monitoring his games really, and hopefully we'll be able to stream some of his games and see him live in action. Yeah,
we obviously wish him the best out with Japan in Qatar. The last thing I'll ask you is, you've been saying it's a break from the league now with the Cup. Manchester City away, it doesn't get much tougher than that in this country at least. What is the preparation like this week? Is it any different than a league fixture? How do we look ahead to a game of that nature?
No. Again, we'll focus on that game. We'll regroup the players and see the condition of the boys in the latter parts of the week. But again, we'll get all the detail and information on them and prepare as we normally would. With every respect that we have for all our opposition that we play against, and we'll be doing the same for that Manchester City game in the Cup.
Excellent. Darren, thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, Raj.